Okay, there we go. So I want to briefly go over a little bit of the history so everybody is aware of what has happened with this. So the first thing, prior to, so there has been a youth protection policy for cooperative extension in place since 1998. Many of you probably have seen this. This is the policy that when I came on board, this is what was on this is what's on our website. So this is what we have been following. And I think everybody's been doing, you know, I have not seen that anybody has not been following this policy. So back to my PowerPoint. So in my understanding is in April of 2018, it was brought to our attention that we were not following the university's policy, and that from my understanding, looking back, this policy actually was put into place by the university in 2014, 2015. So here is, so this is the university's policy. If you have not, if you don't know where to find this, I will share the PowerPoint with everybody too that I have. And this is the policy number. And, you know, it's really good reading. I've gotten very familiar with it. And so you can see essentially it was adopted in March of 2015, but then I just noticed, I've been looking at this policy, I swear weekly, but I just noticed that this revised March of 2018 was put up on the web. So essentially, so this is where most of our new policy is coming from, just so everybody knows. So since then, since the April of 2018, I've been working with the university, myself and Dr. Lyles, and I know Jay Davidson prior to Brad coming on board. Brad has now been involved in some of those conversations. Eric has been involved in some of those conversations. We have been working, and then Dan also is our HR person. We've been working with the university trying to make this the best possible solution that we can get, but still be in compliance with the university and the Nevada System of Higher Education policies. So what you are seeing today is pretty much what we were told we had to follow. So, and this policy does go into effect officially on July 1st, but know that, you know, if you have fingerprints that you have sitting at your office that you've done in the last, you know, that you haven't sent in yet, please do follow this policy as far as where to send them. So just a really quick, all university, and this is also not just fingerprinting, but also we have some new things regarding child protection if you have not looked at the policy itself. And so that's probably one of the biggest things that we have. But all university employees, students, and volunteers that have reasonable cause to believe, this is straight out of the policy, that child abuse or neglect has occurred, you must file a report of the suspected abuse with either the university police, the local police or sheriff's department, or the local Nevada Division of Child and Family Services as soon as possible. And they say, and within 24 hours. Now, this is the one that I didn't know either. So essentially, all of our employees and our volunteers are mandatory reporters. Not only are we supposed to report it to one of these agencies, we're also supposed to report it to the provost's office at the university. So just so everybody is aware of what an employee is considered, that is any person including but not limited to faculty, classified staff, graduate teaching assistants, graduate research assistants, letter of appointments, postdoc scholars, medical residents, and student employees. Anybody who is paid by the university. And volunteers is anybody, any individual who is volunteering at the university with a volunteer agreement that's been approved by University General Counsel. So all of our 4-H volunteers fall under that. So when reporting, you need to, here's the contact information. It's also in the university policy itself, that 7002. And so these numbers, I don't have all the local numbers, but the University of Nevada Police Services and then the Division of Child and Family Services is in here as well.
Carrie, I have a question.
Yep.
So in that child abuse and reporting booklet that all the leaders have to read and then do the quizzes, is that going to change? I
will go over that in just a minute.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's so good. It's good. I'll let you know what's happening with that too. But I just wanted everybody to be aware of, not only are you supposed to report it either locally or to the university police, but you're also supposed to let the provost office know that you suspect this. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. I'm just going what's in the policy. So failure. Yep. Okay. Failure of any of our members of the university community to report is will potentially cause, if you don't report that suspected abuse to the designated officials, it can result into discipline up to and including termination for our volunteer or for our employees and dismissal for students and volunteers. So, and then failure of these officials to initiate a timely notice and timely and appropriate investigation. So essentially, if you report it to the university police and they do not follow up in a timely manner, they could be terminated as well. Or I believe that might even come from the provost office too. I'm not sure. I don't know why the provost office is involved in this loop. So here is the fingerprinting. So this is the fingerprinting process, and then I'll go into the child protection process. So for our fingerprinting process, for volunteers, all of our potential volunteers need to complete the university volunteer application process. So there's nothing new about that. You still need, that includes, the fingerprints, the application, which includes those 3 reference checks, the fingerprint cards, the waivers, and then the NCPA and VCA forms. Those 3, the fingerprint cards, the waivers, and the NCPA forms are not new. You should have always been including those with the fingerprints. It's just, what's going to happen is they're going to a different location now. There is going to be some changes to the volunteer application policy, and mainly just trying to get a statewide application. Yes, Lacey, I'm going to email the PowerPoint out. But essentially, the volunteer application, the process is going to be similar, but there's going to be like a statewide application that we're going to use that's been modified a little bit based on what the committee, and then the reference forms, there's actually going to be a set way to do the references. But that won't go into effect until October 1st, and it's not going to change any of this part of it. I just wanted everybody to be aware there might be some slight changes there. But essentially, so all of the volunteers that get fingerprinted, they need to have those forms sent in a sealed envelope to the University Police Services. The one key thing here is it is imperative on the fingerprint cards that your county is on that card, so we know what county those volunteers come from. Because number 1, for billing purposes, and number 2, when we let the counties know, yes, that volunteer's been cleared or they haven't been cleared, we need to know that. So, and police services is not going to have any idea who they came from. So it's a little bit different than when Ev was, Ev could know, like if Humboldt County is sending her the forms, she knows that those are Humboldt County, but police services, I guarantee, will not do that.
So I have a question about that. What if it has our Oh, no, it does say Lyon County on here. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah, we need to make sure that those cards do have, I've got to look at a fingerprint card again, Haley. I'm not exactly sure where. There's somewhere on there that you can add in.
Haley, where I have it on my fingerprint card, it is like on the left-hand top left, and it says employer address. And I put UNCE-Lyon County and then my address.
So, yes. Thank you, Molly.
You're welcome.
So, Carrie, our process down here is a little different.
Okay. This has to be the process now.
So what we're using two different places to do the fingerprints via electronic.
And you guys are getting an electronic machine in your office in Clark County. So you guys will be able to do the electronic fingerprints in your own office now.
Okay, so I have somebody coming in on Thursday to be a volunteer for camp. What should I do differently? Not send them to that place to get fingerprinted, or?
I'm not sure if you guys have your machine yet or not. I thought it was coming this week, but it sounds like it may not be there. Let me check on that, Karen.
So, Carrie, if we don't have a machine, can we still do like we've been doing with the cards and do the fingerprinting? Or
if you're if you have the ability to do the fingerprinting, or if they have to go to the sheriff's office, either way.
Because it's $75 here.
Okay. Do you have are you trained to do the fingerprinting?
Yeah, I've been doing it. So since I've been here for the year, I've been doing it. I've been places and getting all the leaders and volunteers fingerprinted. I have the ink and the cards, and I've been shown how to do it.
Okay. You can still do that.
Okay. That was my question. Thank you.
And you're going to figure out how we can get certified to do that, right, Carrie?
Yep. I'm writing that one down.
Okay. Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Yep. Because I know it is easier. I know part of this, like the southern area, part of the southern area does have, some of them were doing it, some of them weren't. And Karen, I'm checking on your guys' machine. Probably, I'm guessing if you have somebody coming in tomorrow for camp, I would still send them to the location to get them processed, but they need those results go to DPS, but from there, instead of sending them to Paul, they need to be sent to Leslie at Police Services.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, okay, I'm going back through and looking at this. And Molly, if you can copy me on that picture, I may put it into this PowerPoint.
Oh, then I will take a much better picture because I had it on like a whole bunch of papers.
Oh, okay. That would be awesome, though, because I don't have any fingerprint cards here.
That's no problem.
Okay, so Shannon, so the entire packet that Stephanie Neal sent us for volunteers, what goes to University Police Services is a fingerprint card, the waiver, and the NCPA VCA forms. Those are the three that go, and I'm not sure what all was included in that packet originally, but those are the three. So the state or the police waiver forms, I've seen them, I just don't have a copy of them right here.
Do you want me to scan in a picture or like a copy of them?
Yeah,
I have both of them right in front of me.
That would be fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's what I think is originally in there. That's a huge packet. So it's just those three forms that go to University Police Services. And then let's see, Haley. Yes, they can still do it at the Sheriff's Department. That works fine. If your Sheriff's Department does not charge you, what just needs to happen is they need to mail them to the University Police Services instead of to Ev or to Paul, like they have in the past. So yep. Yeah, because as you've heard, some counties are charging up to $45 for people to go in and do fingerprints. So it just depends on what community you live in. Okay, so what happens is when the University Police Services gets the documentation from you at the county, they send it to DPS for processing. And this is where I'm still working with Dan to figure out the whole fingerprint, how counties are going to be billed. Because essentially what's happening is UNCE is going to be billed for that, because there will not be a north and a south account with DPS anymore. It all goes through University Police Services. And then they will bill UNCE, and then we have to bill you. And so we're working on that. And I said, it can't really even be a journal transfer or a account-to-account transfer, because not they're paid different ways. I think I've seen where some leaders council pays for the background check or for that processing. And so, it just depends on the county. So when the university gets the results back, and this was something that I just learned, there's only certain people that can be privy to those results. So it's going to be my understanding those that can have access to those results are university police, the civil rights and compliance officer, and once that position is hired within cooperative extension and the college, then that person is actually going to take over the fingerprinting piece of it, like all of this. But, who knows how long it'll be until we get that position filled. So I'm doing it for right now. And then myself and then Dr. Lyles. So the four of us are going to be the ones that have access to those fingerprint results and can know what the fingerprint results are. So, but what'll happen is when University Police gets that back, they're going to let the civil rights person know. And from there, I don't know if you will get an email directly from that person, or if they'll let me know and I'll send that email, or whoever's, whoever within 4-H is doing that. There's going to be one of three results. There's going to be, you're either going to get an email saying, hey, this person's been cleared, we're good, they're good to go. You're going to get, hey, this person is pending, and there needs to be further investigation, or you'll get, this person has been denied process. So again, you can see, if it's a clear, you're going to get a letter/email sent to the 4-H personnel with a copy to the extension educator or program manager, whatever you have, and let them know that the 4-H volunteers passed the background check. And with positive results, if there comes up something on the background check that needs to be looked at, then you're going to get that email that says that there is, that there's a problem and that further investigation is known. Haley, I can't answer that question. I have no idea what the answer is. We told them that this cannot be a 3-month process. This needs to be as quick a turnaround as it can be. Honestly, these are the types of things that I'm keeping track of, because in a year we're going to readdress this and see how it's working and how it's not working. And so and I've asked about rush, if we can rush. Sometimes we've been able to do rush orders or send them in to where it doesn't take as long at the DPS level, and I was told we cannot do that anymore. So I hope it doesn't take long, and but I know I gave them some positive results on some fingerprints the end of May, and I still have not heard back from them on those. So, and I've asked about them a couple times. So again, I pretty much have a separate notebook for this, and I'm just keeping track. So. And then we will let you know once that final determination is made, if they can or can't be volunteer. We'll let the county know as soon as we get those results. So any questions on that piece of it? I know it's a little bit confusing. I've got the questions about if other staff, if we have staff in the state who want to get trained on doing fingerprints, how do we do that? And does it take something special? And then also I'm checking on your guys' machine in Clark to see where we're at with that. I will tell you, our original goal was to try to get a machine in every county, the electronic machine. They're $15,000 a piece. So if your county has $15,000 laying around, we can get you one. And we've also tried to, we've also let the university know that, hey, if you guys get any more that you're willing to give to us, we'll take them and we'll figure out where to put them. So just letting you know. Originally that was Dr. Lyles and I's goal was to get one of those electronic machines. I think the cheapest we found is like $8,000. So unfortunately, they're not cheap. Okay, here's the part that, this is the part that probably concerned me the most. And I will tell you, I fought tooth and nail for this, and I lost every single battle that I tried. So fingerprinting really isn't, there's not a lot of change to the actual just where it's going and the results. That's probably that's really the main change with that. But this part, so child protection training. So while we're waiting for the fingerprints to return for our new volunteers, there are 2 new pieces that we are required that every volunteer complete. They have to watch the State of Nevada Department of Child and Family Services video. Oh, I missed the word video in there. It's about 17 minutes long. It's actually not a bad video. I went on and watched it, and it's not a bad video. About 5 minutes or so are a mock conversation with DPS about what would happen if you called in a suspected child abuse. So, I mean, it's not bad, like I said. Then they have to sign a form that says that they watched the video. It's about 17 minutes, Billy Sue. So, what the plan is with the new 4-H year, they, that electronic signature, or that signature that says that they watched that video, will actually be part of the 4-H online enrollment process, because it's an online video through YouTube, and we'll have all the links and everything up on the web. So then you just have to click on the link. So here's the thing. On the next slide, it's going to tell you they have to watch that video every year. I tried to make it every 3 years, and they said no. It's every single year.
Wait, Carrie, they have to watch it every year? That's not even the same as our early childhood education law.
I know.
That is insane. Because if you teach at a private school, it's every 3 years minimum.
I know.
Wow.
So I have a question.
Yep.
Does it matter what time of year? So like if we do quarterly trainings with our leaders, or we have a leaders council meeting,
yep.
Can we like bang it out then, or does it have to be in the first, or does it have to be when the new year starts?
No, they can. That's exactly what I was going to suggest, is if you do a training with your volunteers, where, you have everybody, and if everybody comes, then great. But, for the majority, if you have the majority come, then you could have them watch that video at that meeting. And then what you could do there is have them sign the paper form, or go into 4-H online and sign that they watched the video.
But do they have to date that for a different date? Like, do they have to date that for the next 4-H year? So, like, if I have my leaders do it in, like, November or something, and then we do a training, I'm like, oh, God, we got to do this child protection thing, and I do it in, like, August or September next year, do they have to sign it, like, change the date to the next 4-H year, the 2019-2020 year?
You need to have them watch it during that year.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say, like, if you do a training in November, every November they watch the video.
Okay.
Or you can send it out to them. So how do we let you know? So essentially, if it's signed off in 4-H online, even if you get the paper copy, just go in and check that they watched the video. that's how we're going to know who's watched the video or not. And then they also have to read, and I did not pull up this document. Let me see if I can do it really quick. 4-H online. Yeah, that's probably the easiest way for us to keep track of this. I don't see that I have. Yeah, no. Is this it? Yes. Okay. So the second piece of it, I'm going to pull this off just really quick. They have to read this designated information packet that comes from UNR regarding reporting child abuse and neglect. So this is the document. It was created by UNCE, as you can see. It's 12 pages. It's got some other pieces in it. They have to, so again, so all of these, this one, okay. So they have to read this, or they have to be given this and read it. This is also this is the Nevada Board of Higher Education policies. So that's part of it. So they have to read that, and then they have to sign the form, again, saying that they read it. So again, that piece is going to be, that certificate of completion is also going to be, through 4-H online. And they have to do that one every year as well. This is what the university policy says. In addition, for our 4-H volunteers, while they're waiting for those fingerprints to come back, I would like them to complete there are 4 4-H orientation modules, and I've been trying to figure out how to do them. They're ready to go, and we do have them in Spanish as well as English. I've been trying to figure out how to put them, because they're not an easy thing, but I did find a system yesterday that I can get them in, and volunteers do not have to have a separate, we were going to have to go with e-extension. And if you've gone in and done the module for the common measures, you understand kind of the confusion of getting into that. And I was trying to avoid that, if at all possible, with volunteers. And I think I have it figured out. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's anybody that can help me learn how to use the system, so I'm going to have to learn how to use it myself. It's through Canvas, but it's an online system. So I'm going to be working on that the next week or so. But these 4 orientation modules, they're about 10 minutes a piece. They replace the online modules that we had prior to from Washington State. And then the other piece that I would like them to do, I know that they've read this information packet, but I really, really like our self-study guide. I think it's way better than anything that the university has put together. And I still want our volunteers to go through that self-study guide. My goal is to eventually get that into some kind of learning management system. So it's an online module, not just a read and answer questions, but they're actually, it's an interactive online course that they could take. That's probably at least a year away or 2 years away. So for now, it's going to remain the same as the self-study guide. I think ours is way more in depth. So every year, so here's the policies. Every year, the volunteers must complete the Nevada, that video, and then also the information packet, and sign off that they've watched it and read it. Every 6 years, so every time they have to be re-fingerprinted, essentially, I want them to do those online orientation modules. I think they're a good refresher for people, and they're going to forget that they watched them. And then, and they're probably, they're going to be updated again, within probably, they may have to watch it one more time, but then I'm sure they'll be updated. And then I would like them to do that self-study guide again, just to remind people about that area. So, and this is not new, but just a reminder, if there is a break in service of 1 year or more, then the volunteer has to start all over at the beginning and do all of this again.
What if they're only volunteers for camp?
So that goes into another category.
Okay.
Okay, this is mostly for our volunteers that are, ongoing volunteers. If we have resource leaders, which I kind of consider camp, they're overnight resource leaders, essentially. If that's all they do, then actually I'm just going to go to that piece right here. I'm just going to go to this and then I'll go back. What they have to do for that aspect, they need to get fingerprinted, and then they need to watch the video and read the information packet. So they don't have to do the self-study guide, and they don't have to do unless you want, if your county wants them to do the self-study guide, then fantastic. But go ahead.
And this goes into effect October 1st. So they don't have to do this until next year.
Well, I would
before camp.
No, July 1. This goes into effect July 1. So I would send them the link to the video and then email them the information packet. And when they come to camp, collect those forms.
And when are we getting the information packet?
It's all actually online through the university, through the university's website, or the policy, but I will send it out.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so just to kind of go back, so this is the policy for, so you can see what they have to do. Okay, so next step is, and this is the piece on Workday, and I wanted to throw this in there because I'm kind of trying to make it all fit together, but once they've cleared the background check and they've completed the child protection training in the orientation, they have to be entered into Workday. Most of you have heard of this. And essentially what has to end up happening is you have to sit down with those volunteers and at a computer and start getting them into Workday. And then once they've received an email, and my understanding, and I don't know if the rest, like Sharon, have yours actually received an email from, or I think, I don't know who's all been entering them into Workday, but have they actually gotten an email? Okay, they have. Okay, because some people said it kind of goes into a black hole and they don't ever hear from Workday. But once the volunteer gets that email from Workday, they have to go in and finish the process from their own computer.
Now, mine haven't.
Yours have not. Okay.
No.
Okay. So I need to find.
But they show as active volunteers in Workday. They just, none of them have mentioned that they've gotten any sort of emails.
Carrie, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So here's the deal with that. They are getting those emails. They need to check their spam folders, their junk folders, because 2 of my volunteers, it went directly to their email. The other 2 recently, it was in their junk or spam folders. They're getting them as soon as we put that information in that we do on our side and it's approved, and then they're approved, that email kicks out to them immediately. Okay. So they're there. You have to remember to stay on top of it and remind your volunteers, hey, did you get an email? Check your email. It's confusing. It's frustrating. They are like, what am I looking for? I finally had to take screenshots of the one gal's what she received so that I can show people.
Yeah. And I can, Haley, to answer your question, I have no idea. We were just informed that, they had to go into Workday for, I mean, I know why. It is for the coverage. They become a contingent worker for the university, and essentially that's what covers them under workman's comp and also the liability insurance. So again, I have said we already have them in our online system and university is not. So Shannon, I've asked about that, but I never did get an answer, and so I don't know why they're getting that sexual harassment training. Has anybody else had that issue with their volunteers?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
Nope, I'm not aware of it either. That seems strange.
Yeah, so I'll ask about that. Getting those. and annoying emails too.
Carrie, here's a thought. If they are put into Workday in the wrong, there's a bunch of numbers and codes that we have to use. If they actually go in, not as a volunteer, but as there's something else, they're very close together, then they would get that because it recognizes them more as an employee than a volunteer.
Okay.
So that could be where that's happening. So it would probably just be going back and checking Shannon's just to make sure that it's all right. Because when I did my first one, I put the wrong, there's a code that we have to use. And Ev was the one that corrected me, and I had to go in and correct it on my own because nobody else can go in and correct this for you. You have to do it from your computer, your office.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Sharon, maybe you know. What if they already work for UNR?
That you know what, I don't know. I mean, if they already work for UNR, then they're an employee.
Yeah.
So then, do I need to make them a volunteer profile too?
That's probably a question for Carrie. I mean,
okay.
I just wrote that one down, Molly.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because I know I have at least, I think I have one that actually works on campus.
Okay.
From Fernley.
I just read Shannon's message. She said none of her volunteers have been put into Workday by me or anyone in her office. So that's a little unusual.
Yeah, and I'm gonna find that out, Shannon, why that's happening. And Haley, the reason, so you have to put them in yourself, but the reason why they need to be there is because you have to put in their social security number, and we don't want to be writing down their social security numbers. That's pretty much the university has said they need to be, yeah. Okay, so you still don't have access, Marie, for Workday? Okay. Okay. That's a Dan question. Okay.
She has to be approved. Whoever is her supervisor has to approve her in Workday. Brad had to approve me, and then it creates a whole nother little, like your circle or whatever. So yeah, she has to be approved, and then it should clear. And it can take up to 2 weeks. Mine happened in a couple of days.
Okay.
So
when I got approved, Joy, my supervisor, Joy, she didn't have to do anything. I just emailed Workday.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the situation. Like, so I will, okay, so.
Workday's constantly changing.
It is.
True that.
It's confusing.
Yes, we love it.
Yay.
They were sending me like new hire enrollments for a whole bunch of people that I don't even know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I have the Workday instructions. They're actually out being pilot tested by several counties right now. And so I've just got to get those out or get those back, like get to be able to go through them and make sure, what I want to make sure is we're not missing anything in there, like the right number, those types of things. So we're going to be, those are going to be sent out by July 1st to all of the counties on how, here's the steps. Thank you, Paul, and I think Alyssa in the Washoe office for really putting those together. It's been...
Yes, absolutely. Washoe County's tutorial for me when she emailed it to me was extremely helpful.
Yep. So what I'm doing is basically kind of combining those two because they each kind of had their own pieces, and I'm combining them to make them one. Alyssa had done really good pictures and all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, she actually had a PowerPoint. And I, just so you know, Carrie, when I fingerprinted somebody last fall, that's when I knew that this had happened, because I was told at that point in November, we're no longer handling this for you. You need to put this into Workday yourself.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it off and on since November.
Yeah, and we've been trying to get people to do it off and on, but it was kind of one of those that now we're, you know, again, the hand is being forced. So, so we need to, and this is Dan and I have talked a lot about this and how we're going to get this done. And essentially, what we're saying is right now our priority for getting volunteers are new volunteers And any of those that need to be reimbursed for expenses, like we just, we were trying to reimburse some of the shooting sports instructors for trainings, and it was difficult to do because they were not in Workday. And so we're just, so those are our priorities right now. And then we need to work on getting everybody else into the system. I know there's been mention of hiring a student worker, but I said, how can you do that? Because you need them there to be able to put in the social security number and such. We really need to have all of our volunteers into Workday by December 31st of this year. I know that's going to be tough. If we don't meet that deadline, then, I'll plead our case, but I just want you guys to be aware that we really need to get that.
So with that being said, there you have two dates conflicting there, because if all volunteers are going to go into the Workday system,
go ahead, sorry.
Just like my older volunteers, because I have volunteers that have been in this county for 20 plus years. So now they're going to re-fingerprint, and they're going to have to fill out the new volunteer packet, because that's the packet that you use to put into Workday. So so you're saying we have until July or June of 2019, right, everybody re-fingerprinted, but now if everybody's going into Workday by July 31st, that's going to create an issue.
Okay, so I'm saying December 31st, but
or December 31st, yeah.
Yeah, if it's June 30th, 2019, that's, let's try to get as many in as we can, but.
Okay,
does that make sense? And for Workday, Haley, it is a one-time only event. So once we get everybody into Workday, then then you just have to enter the new people.
So when is the statewide leader packet available? Because I just had all of my leaders that are 2 years plus do the leader packet that I have, and we just did it a month ago. I just haven't had time to get them into Workday.
Right. It is, we can't have on the application itself, we can't have their social security number or their birth date on it. Only for the reason that we can't have those, anymore, you can't have those on a piece of paper.
No, I get that.
Yeah, well, Candy just asked the question on, I would love to be able to do that, but essentially what they're saying is we can't have that. So that's why we have to have them come in and sit down with us to do it. So.
But my question was, Sharon said that we're entering them into Workday based off the new leader packet.
Well, with your packet, the one that you just did.
Okay, so it's not like a new packet that the state.
No. I just meant that my old volunteers are going to have to refill out that information, because that's the information out of the packet that you use to input them into Workday.
Okay, I was going to say, they're going to kill. Yes, I thought, okay.
I'm sorry.
I was like, they're going to kill me. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Believe me, yeah. So, Haley, I love that question. If you have problems with Workday, what you have to do is contact Workday. I'm hoping that the instructions that we send you will help you be able to do that. Yeah, believe me, I have almost been physically ill because of all of this, trying to announce this to everybody and knowing that it was not going to go over well. So I knew it. I've been ready. So this one I think is pretty easy. We all know this one. Once they're done with the whole application process, we get them into Workday, then that's when you have them enroll in 4-H Online. So, it's the process that we, and that's not going to be new to anybody. And I love the fact that we have 5 different things that they have to enroll in. It's driving me crazy. So background checks, this is just a reminder that we do have to this is part of the new thing. We do have to re-fingerprint every 6 years. For now, what we are saying is that all active 4-H volunteers who have been with the organization prior to 2012 must be re-fingerprinted before June 30th of 2019. Those volunteers who have been with the organization since 2012 will need to be re-fingerprinted as well, but our priority is those before 2012. I will tell you that I have asked the question, what is a date that we need to have this done? And the university attorney and the university police have come back and said everybody has to be so their comment back to me was everybody has to be re-fingerprinted because you're out of compliance because you're not following the policy in that the university police were not involved in the fingerprinting. Dr. Lyles and I have had conversations, and this is what we have come up with. So we are giving you a year to get everybody that is 6 years or more re-fingerprinted, and then those that have been with us fewer than 6 years, those will be our next priority. And cost, Haley, unfortunately, I mean, at this point, it is the counties, and if there is an issue in your county, then you are to contact Dr. Lyles or myself and let us know that there is a problem with covering those costs of doing of re-fingerprinting those volunteers. Yes, it is.
Well, and it, with what she just wrote, you're going to lose some volunteers here, guys, and it's not going to be, it's going to be sad because there's people that are just going to balk at this. They're not going to want to comply. It's time consuming. It's frustrating. It's more work for us. But like Carrie's just the messenger. You can thank the university for this.
Yep. I can almost 100% guarantee you there might have been somebody from Extension on the committee that put this policy together, but there absolutely was not anybody in 4-H on this committee. And I can guarantee you the next time this policy gets revised, there will be somebody from 4-H on that committee.
What committee was this, Carrie?
It was I don't know. It was I don't know what the name of the committee was, but there will be either myself or hopefully eventually when we get the volunteer specialist, that person will be involved. Sandy, that means, so it is all active volunteers prior to 2012 have to be re-fingerprinted, and those since 2012, those will be our next priority. So,
Carrie?
Yes.
So in the last, since February, I think I fingerprinted 3 people. Do they have to be re-fingerprinted since they did not go through this correct policy because those cards did not go to Chief Silva or whoever, or the new person? Yep. They were all being done through, Washoe County. They were going to Ev because Alyssa was out and, blah. So that's, I think, it's.
Yep. So again, I'm going to say, all active volunteers from 2012 prior are our priority.
Okay, and that's the majority of my volunteers. I have over 40 of them at this point. So I guess it's going to be by appointment only in Winnemucca because I literally cannot have people just dropping in on me to do this.
Exactly. Because I'll tell you, in my own household, my husband looked at me when he's heard this a lot.
Oh, I'm sure.
He's been my sounding board.
I know my husband hears a lot from me too. So,
and he made the comment to me, "I just got fingerprinted 2 months ago, and I have to go through it again."
Again, okay.
And I said, "No." Well, I said, "Well, eventually you will."
What about us as staff? Do we have to get fingerprinted every 6 years too?
Yes. So that's the other thing is all faculty and staff are supposed to be re-fingerprinted every year, and all faculty and staff are supposed to also go through those two pieces, that video and that information packet, every year.
Now, does that include everyone that was on that committee and Chief Garcia and everyone at the police department?
Yeah, it's supposed to.
Good.
But I've never been asked to watch the video. I've been hired recently, so I don't know who's keeping track of faculty and staff. I'm worried about our volunteers at this point.
Okay.
The entire new leader packet does not have to be redone, Sandy. What you need is, you may be able to pull some of the information from their 4-H online enrollment to put into Workday. I haven't looked at that piece of it, but essentially for 4-H online, the main thing you need, the big thing is their social security number and their birth date. And then, you'll have to put in their address and those types of things. But they don't have to do that full packet again. But we do, and at this point, I'm not requiring them to do the self-study guide again. That's the new policy moving forward. If your county wants them, when they go through their re-fingerprinting, then they would do that self-study guide again. But if your county wants to do it this round with with our current volunteers that are being re-fingerprinted, then you could do that, but it's not required on those that have to get re-fingerprinted in the next year. Does that make sense to everybody? But moving forward, once we get this big bulk through, then we would have that policy.
Can we possibly get like a checklist that has all of these new things on there so that we can?
Yeah, I can do that. But the policy that you got, the policy that I emailed out with the announcement for this actually is bulleted. So it's kind of a checklist with all of these things.
Just because I want to make sure that we're compliant and don't want to forget anything.
I know. Okay, so I just want to remind everybody that somebody said that's the picture that I used from Clark County, but it was like, it's a good picture of showing kids and adults working together. But we just to remember that volunteers cannot work alone with youth until they have completed the fingerprinting. That's a minimum, preferably until they have completed the entire process. But the fingerprinting is our priority at this point. And that comes directly from Dr. Lyles. And then the resource leaders, I've already mentioned this. For our resource leaders, those are, and I know you guys are gonna balk at this, but this is what's in the university policy. It actually goes deeper into this, but I'm pretending like I don't read part of this, reading part of the policy, because it will make everybody cry. But this is part of the policy. So if you have resource volunteers, and I had to do this for FFA, if you have, so people that come in and do workshops for you that, I know that they're there, or the camp volunteers that's all they do is camp, they're asked to watch that video and read the information packet and then sign the form. What you just need to do is email them those things and say, can you please do this? And then when they come, just have them sign the form. We don't know if they are complete or, if they've actually done it or not, but they said by signing the forms, that shows that they said, yes, they did watch it.
Do they have to be put in Workday and 4-H
online? No, they do not
also?
have to be put in Workday or 4-H online or anything.
Okay, no. Perfect.
No, but we just have to, but then you should keep that file, those copies that they signed on file in case we're asked to do that. Or asked for those copies. When I judged the state FFA contest this year, I was never even remotely going to be alone with kids, but every judge at the state FFA contest had to sign those forms. So, it is, people are going to be getting used to doing some of these things for the university. So, okay, in addition, this is something that is, the only thing you guys are going to have to do is just go over a list that I send you. But essentially every year we're going to be collecting an inventory of all extension programs and activities that involve youth or involve children. What we're going to need is the name of the program, the name of the responsible party or the director, the location of where that activity was held, the number of children participating in the program, and then whether that included an overnight stay. So this could be, and I believe we can do just a general 4-H program. I don't think we have to do each individual club. I'm double checking on that. Billy Sue, I'll answer your question. I'll answer the questions in just 1 second, because no, you don't send them to Paul. So anyway, but it's like if you have summer camps, if you have day camps, range camp, the Heart and Shield program, any program that has youth in it, doesn't matter if it's labeled 4-H or not, we will be required to turn in an updated inventory every year. They have a current inventory list. Those are going to be due on February 1st. So I just want everybody to be prepared for that we will be asking for this information.
And we've been asked for that before. It was 2013 or 2014 when we had to create a list. And at that time, they said, oh, we're trying to just do a general blanket. And they made us list everything we did and have. So I'm sure that's probably still going to be the standing rule.
Yep, I'm sure it will be, but know that that's coming out of the university as well. And I was told, so a new person just took that over for the university, and that's why I know that it's coming. So, Billy Sue, so no, you need to send those to the address that I have, that I had listed. So it's, and I can send, I've got what that looked like, Lacey. So I will, when I send this out, I'll let you guys know exactly. I'll pull that list out again. The things that I listed here, the name of the program, the director, the responsible person, the location, the number, and then whether it included an overnight stay or not. That's the stuff that we need. But I can even probably send out the list of what's currently in the database. So yeah, that'll be coming down too. Isn't this fun? This has been my life for the last 2 months. Every time I turn around, they're coming up with something new that I have to do. So Heart and Shield, essentially, because I know that they work with youth programs, and I think Heart and Shield may be already on there, Candy. But essentially, those are the types of things that they need to know. So I just knew, I was trying to think, when I was trying to think of examples, I was trying to think of programs that I knew had youth. So Sherm's going to love me when I tell him I need all this for range camp. He was super happy with me this year when we had to fingerprint all of his volunteers, and we didn't realize, it wasn't realized until about a month ago. So it's been awesome. Babysitting class, yeah, all of that stuff.
Yep, everything, guys, everything.
Yep.
Does this include fundraisers?
It could. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I'm not, like I said, I've got to double check with the 4-H program, because I probably would start crying if they wanted me, if they wanted you guys to keep track of every 4-H club activity, or I was like, oh gosh, that would be crazy. So that's what I'm hoping, that we can just do the 4-H program in general, but I will double check that. So any other questions? Do you see this smile? This has been my smile the last 2 months with this.
I have a question, Carrie. I have a lifeguard that just came on, but we've got camp in a month. Mm-hmm. Am I not going to be able to take her on, or can I go ahead and get her fingerprinted and sent off, or does it need to come back?
Her fingerprints have to come back.
They have to come back, guys.
Yep.
If they don't, you're not going to be able to use them.
And that's not that part of it really is not a new policy at all.
Nope.
This is, that part has always been,
Right. No, I was under that impression. She just got back to me and told me she can do it.
Oh, yeah.
I only have one right now.
Okay. So yeah, I would make sure, get the fingerprints in as quick as possible. I hope that they don't take a long time. I agree completely, Haley. It feels like we're doing, I feel like every time I turn around, I'm asking you guys to do more and more paperwork. And believe me, that's why I was trying to, I honestly, university thinks I'm tough to work with because I have kind of balked at every piece of this, but it's because I was trying to avoid all of the paperwork. I was trying to make this as easy as possible. And they just put their foot down and said no. And why didn't we implement it in 2014?
Well, it sounds like they need to fund us a lot more than they are then.
Yeah, it's one of those unfunded mandates.
Well, they need to communicate their policies with Cooperative Extension.
Yeah, well, that's it exactly. I mean, I wasn't even here in 2014.
I know you weren't here, and people, they're essentially, we kind of had nobody in there for a while, and the people that were there were doing the best they could to keep things afloat. Yeah. So the policies and procedures to them, they just, if they got it, they went, oh well, we've got our own. So because UNCE had their own policy. Yeah. So it's very frustrating and like I said, the powers that be, they don't communicate and they don't get. They're not out here in the field. They're not out here doing the programming. They're not out here doing the work that we do. They don't get it.
When I made the comment of this is not 15 volunteers once a year,
Nope.
3,500 volunteers, that did not go over well. So, yes. So yeah, so at this point, this is how we're moving forward. Like I said, I am keeping tabs on how this is going, what's working, what's not working. Please, at the county level, if you guys can kind of keep track of that, I'm going to be asking for feedback because I will be going back to them and saying, here's the problems that we've had. Can you, what can we do to help this? My experience in, I actually did a lot of research. I got all of the other Western states, their child protection policies from their, for 4-H, and most of them are follow with the university. And I knew we were going through this when I was leaving Idaho, and university had come back and said, you have to do this child protection training every single year. It was a really boring narrated PowerPoint. And the university said, and so they tried it for 2 years, and then it was so much work, and the university recognized that they were able to change it to every 3 years. And that is my hope, that we can have that happen here. But again, I can't, at this point, they are not going for it. This is the law, and you can say, thank you, Penn State, Michigan State, and now USC for this. So we're working on it. I'm really gonna, I was trying to not roll over and just do whatever they wanted, but I ended up having to. So if any questions come up, yes, it is. It's yeah. If any questions come up, if your volunteers start complaining to you, I told Dr. Lyles from the very beginning, I will not allow the county staff to take any kind of abuse from their volunteers on this. So they can either call myself, call Dr. Lyles, or, there are also other people at the university you can call. So, but please just send them to me. Don't take it from them. This is not your guys' fault. So I just want everybody to be aware of that. Like I said, I have said that from the very beginning. Yep. Are those numbers going to come out in an email? What you do is you have your volunteers call me, and then I will send them on to the powers that be. Because if it's something, then just depends on what we have. So I originally was going to send out that email or send out that number, but I thought I'm already getting accused of being difficult to work with. So I'm not, I'd like to get that reputation, you know. And I said, you know, I tried to explain to them that I was, you know, our plan all along was to rescreen volunteers every so often, because when I came in and said, ooh, we don't rescreen, I didn't, you know, I agree with rescreening. Now, granted, do I agree with re-fingerprinting? Probably not. I would have done something much cheaper that has a very good background check, but it's okay. You know, at that point, that was one I was willing to negotiate on. But so, if there's not any other, so are we getting, Sandy? Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm recording all 3 of the sessions that I'm having, and I'll probably post. What my plan is to share the best one, if that makes sense. The one that has the best information, because you know, but it may be that all 3 of them have different information. But part of what I'm going to be doing is taking what I'm learning from this one, and you know, so and I'll post the best one on YouTube for sure. But if not, then they might all 3 be up on YouTube. But one of the 3 will be. And Haley, once, you know, it's something, maybe we don't have a Zoom mini meeting, but maybe during one of our, you know, during coffee hour or something, we have this discussion. So, or, you know, if we need to have one, we could probably have another little Zoom session as people start getting into it and having questions. But if you have any questions as you're going along, please don't hesitate to call me or email me or text me, whatever. So, okay, if there's nothing else, then what I'm going to do is get from this one, I'm going to send all the people that were on this session, I'm going to send you the PowerPoint, and then that way you've got it. And I will resend the document with our policy on it. And then I'm working with Ashley to get everything up on the website as well. So that way we've got the new policies on the website. So, all right. Thank you guys for taking time out, and
thank you, Carrie.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I like these kind of Zoom meetings.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carrie. We appreciate everything you do.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.